Sure, yeah. I mean, I think really, again, returning to the addressable market of DeFi, right now, like liquidity is kind of siloed at the network level. It's like, okay, this guy, is an AVAX bag holder. This guy is an Ethereum bag holder. This guy is a BNB chain bag holder. They don't really want to leave their networks because they are personally, emotionally, usually invest in that network. So giving users access, giving users a common brand that they can trust with their security, that they can trust is giving them better value than alternatives, is really great in that way. And by building cross-chain natively, once we see Chainlink CCIP, for example, achieve a level of security that is satisfactory. So right now, I would say interchain operability is still in a very experimental state. And as Flu mentioned, we are very slow to adopt tech that we didn't make because not everybody is abiding by golden security standards. So we kind of watch and wait. And Chainlink, I think, is a really wonderful example of an infrastructure team that sets standards. So think Chainlink CCIP. Imagine being able to address any market in DeFi from any chain. So right now we have the infrastructure in place where we have a liquidity market. And of course, we haven't released a token. We haven't really tried to grow it orders of magnitude. So we're really for small users or users looking for opportunities or users who might be emotionally invested in Grain or interested in our value proposition being, more value given to the end user, less fees, et cetera. But as time goes on, we can start building cross-chain interoperability into this system. So all the infrastructure is placed, and kind of what we're thinking about is if let's say Apple becomes friendly to crypto, and we see, like, we've been keeping an eye on the App Store forever. We develop wallet tech in the background. We develop all sorts of stuff like that. But Uniswap made their wallet app 4 months early, for example, and now it's been sitting waiting for App Store approval. So once that way is kind of paved for us, now we can have an app that a user can interact with, and they don't really care where the liquidity is siloed, what VC or what whale or what AVAX holder or whoever is providing that liquidity. They can access it agnostic of the underlying chain. And Grainery plus account abstraction plus interoperability makes that really easy, and we have everything in place to do that. Right now, I would say that would be a focus in the next 6 to 12 months because I don't see the App Store getting friendly toward crypto anytime soon.
Right.
But the
What do you
opportunity
think the
for
path forward is going to be there with the App Store? Do you think that Apple is going to actually say something, or do you think it's just going to be like a wait and see?
I think it's going to be a wait and see sort of thing. Like you look at like my most recent retweet on my page, and of course this might just be like pure speculation. In fact, it is pure speculation from what I've seen so far. But the Fed, or not the Fed rather, but politicians shutting down Signature Bank because of its associations with crypto. And not to say that's the reality, but I think it's become
Yeah.
very clear that there is political weight in going against crypto. And yeah, I think like until that dissolves and until a lot of that unwinds, I mean, Apple's the biggest company in the world. Apple and the US might be on par with each other. It's like they're not going to make a move until they know they're not going to piss off, political leaders, et cetera, because they can't lose that narrative. When you have a monopoly, you need to protect it. And opening yourself
Yeah.
up to that scrutiny from the public is not great. And I think, what we can, like, politicians are unabashedly like pro themselves. They're pro votes. All they care about is getting votes. So we can kind of intuit what you know, what their data scientists or whoever is going out in the streets and collecting feedback and figuring out what voters want, we can kind of assume that's the prevailing narrative. And with politicians hating crypto, I can only imagine the data Apple has, and they're probably saying, okay, we need to not f with crypto for another year or so. But hopefully, the banking failures and things like that kind of shift the narrative.
Yeah.
What I don't
To be
understand,
honest,
and
I
this is
feel like
something. Oh, sorry, sorry, Kadeem, go ahead.
no, no. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I'm really surprised because like in overall, like, politicians want to say that like America wants to be this technical center, like Apple, right? Like we have this, like our main export really, overall in terms of GDP is like technology and like these big tech firms, and so we have the potential to have the most like groundbreaking financial system be centered here in the US. Like a lot of the trusted protocols and everything are done here, and the people that make them are here, and we have these awesome developers and everything. We have this chance, and yet there's not anyone that I know within the space, Beavis included, that's not looking into a way to eventually, have different citizenship and move to a different place, at least on paper, that like actually benefits us as developers. And so like you would think that they would want to capture that value and not like let it slip through their fingers, but it seems like they're dedicated to that. And I personally think that there needs to be a lot of lobbying from our point of view, from our side, from the crypto side, to actually show the politicians that we are a powerful force and that we are here to stay. And if we're not going to be allowed to stay, then we're gonna fuck off. We're gonna go elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think like a big thing for them is that they're more focused on the short term than the long term benefits. So the short term impacts them because they won't be there forever. And I feel like, our job as the crypto space is maybe to lobby them in the way that they've been lobbied in the past, which is to, I guess, show them the benefits for them personally in the short term of accepting crypto and being open about it. But yeah, I really think like the thing is kind of like a mind game at this point.
Yeah, it is like I always think, okay, this is it. We've had our black swan events. Everybody's had their victory lap. Leverage is rinsed out, and then they just find new ways to mess with us. It seems like, and I'm not gonna act like the Fed or whoever is out to get us as developers necessarily. And I think like a lot of this was international organizations sneakily finding ways to serve U.S. customers, whether it be through bad KYC practices or what have you, um, and then kind of putting all these problems into the U.S.'s lap. And now we see them like getting so angry and over legislating and over regulating and being really aggressive with punishments, et cetera, that it's scaring everybody away. Like if you look at NPM installs, crypto is growing. And you look at installations of hard hat, of Web3, of Ethers, crypto is growing, 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 but installs from the US are declining. And I think China is going to be putting a lot of pressure on the US to start giving us a viable regulatory framework, because right now every US company needs to incorporate internationally, and they need to hire outside of the US. They need to move their operations as far outside of the US as they can. And that's the only way to survive. Otherwise, you're just painting a massive target on your head. Like, the Grain Foundation, I wish we could be in the US. I wish we could be like have a beautiful US entity and be totally compliant and, follow a regulatory framework, but it just doesn't exist. And it's really, really annoying because all we want to do is good work, and we want to give users the value that they wish they could get from the traditional financial system, and we just can't. And I don't know whether it's financial lobbyists, I don't know whether it's politicians, I don't know whether it's just like the people's sentiment, but
Yeah.
it's a
So
massive
what
setback, I think.